Before "let them eat cake" became the most infamous quote she never said, there was a young Austrian princess who was thrown into a world full of ruthless power and deadly politics. She was a queen, a party girl, a scandal magnet, and according to the French people, she was the woman who destroyed France. But was she really the reckless, heartless queen they made her out to be? Or was she just a pawn in a game she never stood a chance in winning? Stick around, let's find out. On November 2nd, in the year 1755, Maria Antonia Josefa Joanna, or as we all know her, Marie Antoinette, was born in Vienna, Austria. She was the 15th child of Maria Theresa and Emperor Francis I. Sorry, I just had to process that. The 15th child? That house was packed. In total, she had 16 siblings. But unfortunately, not all of them survived. Smallpox ravaged the family. 3 of her sisters, Maria Joanna, Maria Elizabeth, and Maria Josefa, were hit hard. Now, if you're not like me, you're probably not wondering. But if you are like me, you're probably wondering, why were they all called Maria? What's going on? What's up with that? Some sources said that the reason why they were all called Maria was, 1, because their mother, Maria Theresa, was also called Maria, and it was kind of like to honor her, you know? And the other reason is because Maria Theresa, their mother, was a devout Catholic, and she wanted her children to carry a name that symbolized piety and devotion. So what better name than Mary, the mother of Jesus, which conveniently was also her name, so it served both purposes. You get it? Okay. Now, let's go back to the story. So, we were talking about how smallpox ravaged the family, and her 3 sisters, Maria Elizabeth, Maria Joanna, and Maria Josefa, were hit really hard. Maria Josefa was actually supposed to marry King Ferdinand of Naples, but she died just days before her marriage, at the age of 16. Maria Joanna, she died at age 12, and the 3rd sister, Maria Elizabeth, thank God she survived, but she was pretty scarred. So yeah, disease and death were regular guests at the palace. Marie Antoinette's childhood was nothing but ordinary. She was surrounded by music, opulence, and constant political maneuvering. I guess you could say she was more of a pawn than a princess. So was Marie Antoinette a good kid? Not really. You see, little Marie was a bit of a... how do you say that? A brat. Spoiled, stubborn, and not exactly the brightest in her studies. Sources say that she preferred dancing, playing with her sisters, and charming everyone in sight instead of cracking open a book. Can you blame her? And her tutors, oh, they noticed. Get this, one of her tutors said that she was not naturally inclined to serious studies. Was he calling her dumb? And another tutor said she was extremely lazy and frivolous. Yikes. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's continue. So what do we know about her parents? I got something for you. It is said that Empress Theresa ruled with an iron fist. She loved her children, but she treated them more like political pawns instead of actual people. And the father, Emperor Francis I, well, he was kind, but he was also very distant. What a loving household. Now, when you have 16 kids, I can imagine you're bound to have a favorite one, even if you shouldn't. In Maria Theresa's case, she had a few favorites. Her eldest son, Joseph, he was the golden boy. Heir to the throne, smart, and basically a mini tyrant in the making. What's there not to love? Her other favorite was Maria Cristina, also known as Mimi. She was the apple of her mother's eye. And our girl Marie Antoinette, not so much, okay? She was not a favorite. Yeah, she was more of an afterthought, you know? A spare daughter to marry off for political gains. Yeah, and as for her parents' relationship, let's just say Maria Theresa was the one wearing the pants and the crown in the relationship. Yeah, Daddy Francis wasn't doing much. Now, fast forward to 1767. France and Austria are not exactly in good terms, okay? I mean, they've been enemies for years, okay? Years. And Maria Theresa, she was desperate to secure peace. She was tired of fighting. Who wants to fight forever and ever? It's draining. And also, it cost money, okay? Being at war is not cheap. So Empress Theresa wanted peace at all costs. And back in those days, there was no better way of securing a peace alliance than a marriage. Yes, a marriage. Maria Theresa was thinking about marrying off one of her daughters. And if you haven't guessed who, of course it's gonna be scapegoat Marie Antoinette. It's definitely not gonna be her favorite child, Christina. Come on, don't be silly. Marie Antoinette was actually 12 years old when they started grooming her for the French throne. I mean, they changed her hairstyle, they fixed her teeth, and drilled her with endless lessons in French etiquette and how to behave like a queen. But the girl was still a bit of a hot mess, you know? And she was still more interested in playing games than paying attention in class. That didn't work out so well for her, did it? Fast forward to the year 1770, 14-year-old Marie Antoinette was finally ready to be shipped off to France. Yes, shipped off to France to marry the awkward, shy, and socially inept Louis Auguste, the man we would know in the future as King Louis XVI. So Marie is on her way to France, right? She's not thrilled, but duty calls. What can you do, I guess? Now, remember in the beginning, I told you her full name? Maria Antoinette Josefa Joanna? Yes. It's at this moment when she was being shipped off to France where she officially changed her name or was rebranded as Marie Antoinette. And once she was rebranded as Marie Antoinette, she was handed over to the French court like a beautifully wrapped gift. A gift no one wanted to open. So how was the marriage? Were they in love? Definitely not. Was it awkward? Absolutely. I mean, her husband, Louis, was 15 years old. He was obsessed with locks and hunting and more interested in his pet dogs than his new wife. Yeah. And consummation? Forget about it. The marriage wasn't consummated for 7 years. Yes, you heard that right. 7 whole long years. Now, obviously, the French court noticed. Then, the Austrian court noticed. And then everyone noticed. Everyone had their own opinions about why the young royal couple couldn't just seal the deal. And during that whole entire time, Marie was struggling to adjust to the life in court in France. Listen here, the French court was not for the weak, okay? And I guess when Marie arrived, she was expecting court to feel more like, welcoming. But instead, it started feeling like a gossip-riddled viper's nest than a welcoming family. While Louis, her husband, busied himself with locksmithing and hunting, Marie was desperately trying and failing to adjust to French court. People at court were cold, judgmental, and just waiting to pounce on every single mistake that Marie made. For the people at court, Marie was too Austrian, too carefree, and way too uninterested in politics. Did her husband Louis hate her for this? No, he was shy but not cruel. Come on. I mean, they were just 2 teenagers that barely knew each other, who were thrust into a marriage that they didn't even choose. Poor Marie was lonely, isolated, and bored out of her mind, which is when Count Axel von Fersen enters stage left. He was handsome, dashing, and very, very interested in the queen. Did these two actually become lovers? History says maybe, but the French gossipers in court? Oh, they say definitely. And I say, I have no idea, okay? I wasn't there. When Marie felt lonely, sad, and bored, there was one thing that made her feel all better. Spending money. She threw herself into party, gowns, jewelry, all the lavish luxury she could. And her small little getaway was called the Petit Trianon. It was her personal palace playground where she could just escape from the relentless pressure of Versailles. And you're probably thinking, okay, what's wrong with that? She's lonely, she's bored, and she found a way to ease her boredom. What's wrong with that? Well, generally nothing is wrong with that, except she was doing that in a country where peasants were starving. That just doesn't look good. You know, when you're spending so much money and going to parties and buying 5 dresses and 6 jewels while your people are starving, it doesn't look that good. While Marie was hosting extravagant parties and gambling fortunes away, the people of France were starving. I mean, bread prices were skyrocketing. Poverty was spreading. And Marie was oblivious to all this while she was living in a bubble filled with silk, jewelry, and champagne. I mean, the French peasants absolutely hated her.
Non, mais c'est une blague ou quoi? Il y a absolument rien à manger. On va tous mourir. On est tous finis. C'est fini, c'est tout. On va tous mourir.
I'm imagining that's how the French peasants were complaining. Like, we're all gonna die. There's no food. You know? Meanwhile, Marie over here went to 5 different parties last week and ordered 3 different dresses. Like, hello, we're starving. Where's this money coming from? Help us. I'm imagining that's how the French people were complaining, you know? On va tous mourir. Y a rien à manger. Now, you could be thinking, oh my god, these people are literally overreacting. Their anger is literally misplaced. It wasn't even her fault. And sure, that might be true. But picture this. You're a starving French peasant, right? The last decent meal you had was probably 2 months ago. And tonight, you're making yourself stone soup. Like literal stones in hot boiling water with a couple vegetables. And as you're turning your stone soup, your neighbor, Rebecca, busts in your house and is like, oh my god, you won't guess what the queen did. And you're starving, okay? You're like, what, Rebecca? Is she giving out bread? Did she suddenly make dirt edible? What, Rebecca? And your friend Rebecca's like, nah, she just ordered 10 silk dresses, 5 pieces of jewelry, and is throwing another party tonight. So now your left eye is twitching, right? And you're just like, another party? Didn't she just have a party last night? As in yesterday night? What's the theme of tonight's party? Screw the Peasants, the sequel? And your friend Rebecca's like, bro, calm down. And now your left eye is twitching even more because it's like, calm down. I'm about to eat stone soup for dinner, Rebecca. Don't tell me to calm down. Just put yourself in their shoes. Now, they might not have actually been eating stone soup. Maybe I was exaggerating a little bit. But the anger, you know, the feelings, the emotions that they were feeling while knowing that they're starving and the queen is over here ordering more dresses and throwing more parties is the same. When you're starving, nothing's funny. The point still stands. These people were literally starving, like scavenging for food, trying to find something to sustain themselves, to stay alive. And this woman was spending all that money. So in their minds, they're like, oh my god, like I'm literally starving. I don't even know what I'm gonna eat tomorrow. Or I don't even know what I'm gonna eat in an hour. And this woman is about to throw another party? But did Marie really spend that much money? Yes and no. I mean, she was extravagant, but she wasn't the sole cause for France's financial crisis. That blame rested squarely on the shoulders of a broke monarchy, costly wars, and a government that was drowning in debt. But obviously, to the starving peasants, they didn't care about that. I mean, Marie was an easy scapegoat. She was the one spending the money, so they blamed her. Now, remember how I mentioned before that it took 7 years for Louis and Marie to consummate their marriage? Well, after those 7 years, eventually, Marie ended up having children. In total, she had 4 children. After years of rumors of her inability to conceive, she finally gave birth to a daughter, followed by 3 more others. But unfortunately, by then, it was too late. The public had already turned against her, branding her as a spendthrift, a foreigner, and a bad queen. Peasants of France were starving, suffering, and seething with rage. The country was on the brink of revolution, and Marie was about to be hit with a scandal that would damage and destroy her reputation forever. A scandal involving a diamond necklace, a cunning thief, and a letter forged with the queen's signature. But what exactly was in that letter? And how did a single diamond necklace spark a nationwide frenzy? Stay tuned for part 2, where Marie goes from party girl to prisoner, and the revolution begins.